This video is brought to you by The Wonderful 101, exclusively on Wii U.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Roth and Chris here with some great news for Harry Potter fans.
Yeah, we got the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that was dropped on us today.
Yeah.
What is it?
In the world of Harry Potter, it's a textbook that Harry, Ron, and Hermione had in the first year at Hogwarts, okay? And so it was written about it in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. But then in 2001, J.K. Rowling actually wrote it and released it out into the world under the pseudonym, the author of the book itself, Newt Scamander.
Into the Muggle world, as you will?
Into the Muggle world as we know it. And the 2001 release had little notes from Harry in the margins and things like that. Well, Warner Brothers, in all of their infinite wisdom, went to J.K. Rowling and said, hey, guess what? We really want you to make some more Harry Potter movies, but you won't do that because you're not going to bastardize your baby that's perfect and complete as it is in those 7 books of a perfect hero's journey. I'm a fan. So instead, they said, let's tell the story of Newt.
Right, and I think actually it's a perfect way to sort of avoid the Harry Potter story and still exist in that, wizarding world. You see it all unfolding. You see these things like getting into the theme parks eventually, and you see this becoming a series with Newt at its center. And who's Newt?
Yeah, Newt is a guy that he was raised by a woman who bred hippogriffs. If you guys remember Buckbeak. It was a hippogriff, and so he grew up loving magical creatures. He then went on to work for the Ministry of Magic, working with magical creatures, and so he knows a lot about them. And he wrote this book, so we're not sure. It's going to take place several years before the world of Harry Potter, because the book was published the fictional book was published in 1927. Right? So could this be like an Indiana Jones type story?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to take some kind of approach of him tracking down the most fantastical beasts, right? Or just his adventures. I do think you're right. I think it's going to be in that ministry sort of role, and then that's going to flow out, and he's going to, do the textbook from there. But it is like the perfect formula for movies because each one could centralize on one creature, and obviously, there's got to be villains and so forth, and that'll all get fleshed out. And the cool thing is that it's going to not get fleshed out by some person at Warner Brothers. It's like J.K. Rowling's doing it. She's writing it.
She is, for the very first time, this is really exciting for fans, that she is, for the very first time, she's going to pen the actual first screenplay herself.
Crazy.
And this could go on for a long time as a serialized series of movies. There's
this thing where she got out of writing the books and you feel like, okay, well, she's just done with Harry Potter in a way. But, it's like her baby, and I feel like she just has to come back to it. And this is kind of a different way to do it. And she's been really involved in making the movies anyway, so it seems kind of like a natural extension. I have to say, I'm really excited about it. I know you're Harry Potter mega fan, and I was kind of a little reluctant to come to it at first. I like it now, but this particular series of movies sounds great to me. I loved all the fantastical animals and that whole element of the original series. Awesome to me. So it's kind of like Monster Hunter, but in Harry Potter's world.
Well, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a big fan of the hero's journey. So whether it's Harry Potter or whether it's Luke Skywalker, or whether it's the Ramayana, I like the hero's journey. But I think that this sounds cool. What I was trying to say is a serialized franchise in the sense of really like an old-fashioned kind of serial in a way, the way that Indiana Jones was referencing old-fashioned serials, because each thing can really be its own self-contained adventure. There are 75 creatures in the book. There's endless amounts of things that they can do in that world. It could be potentially fascinating to watch unfold. Could we see Dumbledore, a younger Dumbledore?
I think we will actually see him in some way, because he wrote the foreword in the book, in the actual book, for the school, and in the Muggle world, it's like Dumbledore writing it. You think that there's probably some link between them. And, you were saying, when we were talking before, you were saying, oh, I hope Dumbledore is not going to be a huge element of it.
Well, no, I love Dumbledore. I would watch an entire prequel series about Dumbledore if she would do it, because I think his backstory is pretty fascinating. It's more that I think that it gets dangerous. Joss Whedon said this about the TV show S.H.I.E.L.D., where, you bring in too much of the world of the cinematic Marvel universe, and then you take away, it gets distracting from the show.
It's a crutch, too. You don't want to to lean on that, and you do want it to be its own thing, right?
Yeah, you want it to be a strong, self-contained story. Otherwise, it becomes about, hey, look at this thing, and that's what the fans are looking for. You want them to get immersed into this world, bring in new fans, bring in a younger generation that maybe isn't even familiar with Harry Potter yet.
I think Marvel's actually a good thing to cite because they did a really good job of sort of Easter egging stuff into their movies without actually being like, hey guys, we're going to put this huge like half-hour element in this movie. You know, you could make references to Dumbledore in this and, you know, just walk away from it and be like, hey, you're in this wizarding world that exists as this entire universe. And that you don't have to belabor the point, I feel like.
Yeah,
so.
I really think that it's infinitely rich in possibilities. He did make a small appearance in The Prisoner of Azkaban on that Marauders map, probably there to deal with his hippogriff that we mentioned.
Do you ever wonder, like, when things like this come about, do you ever wonder, like, how...
Or maybe the dragons, actually. He was probably there for the dragons. Go ahead.
How long ago this thing was, like, actually being talked about? You know, like, there's this part of me that's like, well, we always had it in the back of our mind that we could do this Newt Scamander story.
Yeah, I think probably what they've been trying to pressure her to do is find a way to keep Harry alive, because that's the character and the characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, that people are really attached to. And I think that she probably needed a little breather from it too. She wrote some detective novels and did some different things, wrote more adult-themed novels. But I think she loves this world. She's been immersed in it for many years. I think she knows so much about it. She has so much research, so much backstory.
Probably knows everything about it.
Yeah, she knows everything about it. And so I think that when they came to her with this idea, she probably thought, this is a way to get me back into that world without damaging Harry. And it's kind of amazing.
And honestly, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a gift to fans. You know, it's basically like, here's more and more, because I do think it's a franchise. You know, you want that Harry Potter connection, but really it's maybe the series will now be known as like the group, the franchise will be like the Wizarding World.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe there are more spin-offs to happen.
I think so. I mean, I think that this is like the kickoff of phase 2, if you will, and we could see more phases down the line. And I
like the Marvel analogies we got going.
But I think everybody looks at Marvel and says, how can we make this happen for our franchises? Because it's working, and it's working for a lot of money, and that's what it's about at the end of the day.
And since they haven't figured out how to do it with DC, why not go back to Harry Potter that's been so successful? All right, guys, burn. That's what we think, but we really want to know what you think. Do you think it's a cash grab? Are you excited? Would you like to see more spin-off stories from that world?
Yes,
and if so, which would you like to see? Let us know in the comments below.